People don't lose respect for you all at once. You slowly teach them how to treat you, and most of the time, you don't even realize you're doing it. Respect doesn't disappear in a moment. It doesn't break all at once. No one wakes up one day and decides to stop respecting you. If it happens slowly. So slowly that you don't notice it while it's happening. At first, everything feels normal. People listen to you. They take you seriously. They respond to what you say. There is a certain weight to your presence, a certain clarity. And then something shifts, not dramatically, not in a way you can point to, but subtly. Someone interrupts you and you don't address it. Someone makes a joke at your expense and you laugh it off. Someone ignores what you said and you let it pass. Individually, none of these moments feel important. They seem small, not worth reacting to, not worth creating tension. So you let them go. And that's where it starts. Because respect is not built on what you say. It's built on what you allow. Every time something crosses a line and you don't respond, you are not maintaining peace. You are sending information. Information about what is acceptable. Information about how you can be treated. And people learn from that. Not consciously, structurally, they adjust. Not because they want to disrespect you, but because the boundaries are unclear. And when boundaries are unclear, people test them. Not aggressively, subtly. A slightly different tone, a slightly different behavior, a small push. And if nothing happens, that becomes the new standard. What makes this even harder to notice is that disrespect rarely arrives as open hostility. It doesn't begin with someone attacking you directly. It begins with people becoming slightly less careful around you, a little less attentive, a little less precise, a little less concerned with how their behavior lands. And because none of those moments are dramatic, they are easy to excuse. You tell yourself they're distracted. You tell yourself they didn't mean it. You tell yourself you don't want to be sensitive. You tell yourself this is too small to address. But respect is not measured only by intention. It's measured by pattern. One moment can be dismissed. A pattern cannot. That is where most people get trapped. They evaluate each moment separately, which makes every individual moment look harmless. But the dynamic is never created by one moment. It is created by repetition. If someone interrupts you once, that means very little. If they interrupt you often, and you consistently disappear inside that interruption, that means everything. Because now there is a structure. They speak over you, you withdraw. They take more space, you take less. And that structure becomes familiar, not just to them, to you. You start expecting it. You start entering conversations already adjusted to it, already smaller, already prepared not to insist too much, already willing to let something go before it even happens. And that is where the erosion becomes internal. At first, people respond to what you tolerate. Later, you start shaping yourself around what they now expect. That is much harder to reverse, because now you are not only correcting other people's behavior, you are correcting your own adaptation to it. And adaptation is dangerous when it happens quietly. You don't notice yourself becoming less direct, less expressive, less willing to insist, less likely to challenge something in real time. But people notice the result. They feel less resistance. And when people feel less resistance, they naturally take more ground. Not always because they are selfish. Often because that is simply what happens in unclear systems. Space gets occupied, and if you do not define it, someone else will. Now, let's slow this down, because this is where most people misunderstand what's happening. You think respect is something you earn once, through competence, through kindness, through being reliable, and those things matter, but they are not enough. Because respect is not static. It is continuously negotiated, in real time, through behavior, not big behavior, small behavior, micro moments. How you respond when someone interrupts you, how you react when someone dismisses you, how you handle being treated slightly below what you accept. That's where respect is built, and that's where it erodes. Every interaction is a negotiation. Not an explicit one, but a silent one. What is allowed here? What happens if I cross this line? And your reaction answers those questions, not your words, your reaction. If someone interrupts you and nothing happens, the answer becomes, this is allowed. If someone dismisses you and nothing happens, the answer becomes, this has no consequence. And once something has no consequence, it repeats. Not because people are malicious, because it works, and people repeat what works. There is also another mistake people make here. They assume that if they are kind, fair, patient, and competent, respect should come automatically, as if respect were a reward for being a good person. It isn't. Those things matter, but they do not define the boundary of how people engage with you. Because a lot of people confuse goodness with permeability. They think being understanding means being endlessly absorbent. They think being calm means never pushing back. They think maturity means tolerating more than they should. So they keep choosing composure in moments that actually require correction. And then they wonder why their presence feels lighter than it used to. The answer is not that they became weaker. The answer is that they stopped making the edges of their presence visible. And visible edges matter. People need to feel where you begin and where they stop. Not through aggression, not through volume, not through control, through clarity. Clarity is what tells the room, this is how I can be engaged with, and this is where it stops. Without that clarity, people improvise. And when people improvise around you long enough, the dynamic drifts, not toward respect, toward convenience. You become the person who won't make it awkward, the person who will let it pass, the person who probably noticed, but probably won't do anything about it. That reputation is built silently. No one announces it, no one names it, but everyone feels it. And once they feel it, your words start carrying less force. Not because your words changed, because the environment now assumes they can move past them. Now here's where it becomes personal. Internally, something else happens. You start to feel misaligned. You say yes externally and no internally. You stay silent externally and react internally. And that creates tension. You feel it after the conversation. You feel it while you replay the moment. You feel it when you realize you should have said something. And that tension accumulates, not loudly, quietly, until it turns into frustration, fatigue, distance, and eventually resentment. Not just toward others, toward yourself, because part of you knows you saw it and you chose not to respond. And every time that happens, you lose a little bit of trust in yourself. Now here's where most people make the final mistake. They wait. They wait until it's big enough, until it's worth saying something. But by the time it feels big enough, it's already too late to handle it cleanly. Because now, you're not reacting to one moment. You're reacting to 10. And the reaction comes out stronger than it should. More emotional, more loaded, less precise. And now it looks like you're overreacting. Not because you are, but because the timing is wrong. You waited too long, so the reaction doesn't match the moment. And that creates confusion for them and for you. So what do? You pull back again. You go back to silence, and the cycle repeats. Ignore, accumulate, react, regret, withdraw. This is why timing matters more than intensity. Most people think respect is restored by one strong moment, one powerful conversation, one emotional boundary. But that rarely fixes the real issue, because the real issue was never one big event. It was the absence of small corrections. A person who corrects early does not need to explode later. A person who names things when they are still light does not need to carry them until they become heavy. That is what strong presence looks like. Not someone who dominates the room, someone who adjusts it early, someone who notices the shift the first time, someone who does not over-explain, someone who does not wait, someone who responds when it is still simple. Let me finish. That's not what I meant. Don't do that. Ask first. Short, clear, immediate. No performance, no speech, no need to make everyone comfortable, because clarity has weight. And weight is what people remember. Not your silence, not your internal frustration, your response. Now here's the final shift. You don't restore respect by demanding it. You restore it by changing what you tolerate. Consistently. Not once, not occasionally. Every time it matters, because consistency is what builds credibility, and credibility is what gives your presence weight. So the next time something small happens, don't ignore it. Not aggressively, not emotionally, just clearly, because that's where respect is decided. Not in the big moments. In the small ones, you usually let pass. And once you see that, you stop asking, why are people treating me this way? And you start asking, what have I been allowing? And that question changes everything.